Hello again, my name is Rednu. You are watching an in-depth gameplay commentary on a platinum ranked game between Sky Strikers, me, and Eldlich. I'm going to give you a peek into what Eldlich is and what they want to do, then it's straight gameplay from there, so I hope you enjoy. So right off the bat, our starting hand, not very good. Effect Veiler Max C, it's alright interaction, nothing to write home about though. And when we start our plays, the double ray and multi-roll, not very good. Let's pause for a bit here. So what he starts off with is Pot of Extravagance. Whenever a deck is playing a card, you're always going to want to try and guess what they're playing. It's not always obvious what they're playing, even after they complete their entire turn 1. So when we look at Pot of Extravagance, this is banish the 3 or 6 random face down cards from your extra deck. The keyword is random, right? And what that tells us is that he doesn't care what extra deck monsters he banishes, and all he cares about really is just patting his hand out, drawing cards. And what that tells me immediately is that this is an Eldlich deck. So most Eldlich decks are centered around Eldlich the Golden Lord as their boss monster, and a suite of traps. They do not use the extra deck because they don't need to. Eldlich is a great card on its own, and the whole deck supports him. Eldlich the Golden Lord has 2 effects that can be each used once per turn. The first effect activates in the hand. At the cost of discarding itself and another spell or trap, it can send any card on the field to the graveyard. This is a powerful effect. A little costly, but powerful, and the reason why is because it has no restrictions as to what card it can send to the graveyard. It could be a set card, it could be a spell or trap that is already face up, it can be a monster, anything can be sent. And that means you can use it for many situations. On top of that, and this is something newer players need to grasp, it does not destroy. So cards like Stardust Dragon, which has protection against destruction, will not be able to protect itself against the Golden Lord's effect here, because it doesn't explicitly say that it destroys, only that it sends that card to the graveyard. Even though it accomplishes practically the same exact thing as destruction, in that it sends a card on the field to the graveyard, the devil is in the details, and that is just Yu-Gi-Oh! In a nutshell. The second effect of the Golden Lord is what makes this deck so annoying and strong. While Eldlich is in the graveyard, he is able to special summon himself so long as he sends a spell or trap on his side of the field to the graveyard as cost. This isn't a problem for Eldlich, since most decks will have an overwhelming majority of its cards as trap cards, almost as much as we play spells. So even if you do get rid of Eldlich, you won't actually get rid of him until you banish him from this plane of existence. On top of this, if he resolves that effect, until the end of your turn, he gains 1000 attack and defense, as well as protection against destruction by card effects. The key word to that is gains, meaning if the effect resolves, even if you negate his effects with Widow Anchor while he's on the field, let's say, he will not lose either of those buffs because he's already gained it. The effect had already fired, and it doesn't say that he has these buffs, but that he had already gained it. And Eldlich is a huge problem on the field. Not only does he boast a very strong attack power of 2500, but his accompaniment supports him so very well. He is usually accompanied by 2 trap monsters in Conquistador and Vaquero of the Golden Land. These cards are traps, but they have effects to summon themselves as monsters. What more, when they are summoned, if Eldlich is on the field when they are summoned, they immediately get to resolve a bonus effect. Conquistador destroys a face-up card on the field, and Vaquero banishes a card from the graveyard. This is especially a problem for Sky Strikers, because Vaquero will banish our Ray from grave, and Conquistador will destroy our Link monster, meaning we're not going to float. And if that wasn't enough, Eldlich decks can play the best floodgates in the game simply because it has virtually no effect on them. The weak point of this deck is ironically its strongest point, and that is Eldlich. we need to Ash Blossom the many cards that either special summon or add Eldlich to our opponent's hands. And the MVP in our Sky Striker lineup by far is going to be Shark Cannon, which can banish Eldlich from the graveyard and prevent him from resurrecting ever again. That was a lot more than I thought it would be, but without further ado, let's get into the gameplay. So here, he's still resolving Extravagance. And this just lets him get 2 cards, right? It's like a Pot of Desires for him, except he doesn't have to destroy his main deck. He just destroys his extra deck, which again, he doesn't care. He plays Elixir of Black Awakening here, which we will chain Max C. Elixir of Black Awakening is one of the cards that special summons Eldlich from the deck. And so we can't stop it, right? We don't have Ash Blossom, but we're at least gonna get a card from it with Max C. And that's gonna have to do. So he sets, I think 4. Yeah, he sets 4 traps. So majority of Eldritch decks are traps, right? So even aside from just the 2 that I mentioned, they play other traps that disrupt you and stop you from being able to play. So we're gonna see what we could do. We're going to go ahead and activate multi-roll first. And why is so that when we activate Area 0, we will tick that little counter and multi-roll, and that we will be able to encore 1 Sky Striker spell from our graveyard if we happen to get one. And we're also trying to figure out, what is he playing, right? We could have normaled Sky Striker Ace Ray. We could have normaled Rose. But we're going to want to try and see what his back row is. We want to make a series of non-committal plays, right? Now we see Ray come out because he didn't react. He didn't react to our multi-roll. He didn't react to our Area 0. And what we're going to do here is special summon Rose. And the reason why we're going to do this, let me pause. So we could have done a lot of things, right? One of them maybe just normal summon Ray. Another one is we could have normal summoned Ray and do the cute little trick, right? Where we activate Area 0, targeting Ray, then use Ray's quick effect to get her off the board so that she's not sent to the graveyard by Area 0's effect, but still allows us to get a card from Area 0's effect. We could have done that, but why I don't do that is because he has 4 back row. He has 4 cards in his spell and trap zones, and one of the cards that Eldlich plays, and they play 3 copies of this, most of them play 3 copies of this card, is Solemn Judgment. And Solemn Judgment, what it does is when you would summon a monster, they flip it, pay half of their life points, and prevent that summoning from occurring, okay? And he's not gonna do it to my normal summon of Ray. There's no way he does that. What he would do is when I link summon with Ray into one of my link monsters, because then he takes out 2 cards. He takes out the link monster I try to special summon into, and obviously he takes out Ray. And the keen of you that are new players also would probably ask yourselves, but why? Because if your link monster, your Sky Striker link monster is destroyed, wouldn't Ray be able to special summon herself from the graveyard? And the answer to that is no, because what happens is with Solemn Judgment and all the other Solemn cards, the keyword is when a card would be summoned. So even though it looks like it appears on the board, it came on the board, right? And they flip the card in reaction to it. What happens is it kind of like goes back in time, right? It goes back in time and destroys your monster before it hits the board, before it is summoned. Because again, the keyword is when it would be summoned. Then it would negate the summon, meaning you've never controlled that link monster, meaning Ray will not be able to special summon herself from the graveyard. And that's why I choose not to do the little trick. And it's because an Eldritch player would wait. They would wait for you to do that kind of move or link summon into it. Maybe not the quick effect, but just link summon. They would wait for that. And so what I instead do is I normal summon Ray and I activate Rose's effect to special summon herself because I'm trying to bait it out. I'm saying, okay, you're not good at Solemn Judgment my Ray normal summon, but would you Solemn Judgment this, right? another monster. It's just asking the opponent more questions, right? And giving them more opportunities to fail. And the reason why I do this play and not multi-roll, send Area 0 to the grave, special summon Ray from my deck, why I do that is because I want to find another spell. You can see I don't have many spells in my hand, right? I need to find another tool to deal as much damage to his board as possible. Okay, let's resume. Okay, so he flips Conquistador as Chainlink 2. And so now I'm thinking, what is he trying to do? Is he trying to get rid of my Ray? Well, if that's the case, I have to dodge, right? Because now I'll have my Link summon. I'll have a Sky Striker Link monster, and if he decides to get rid of it, then guess what? Ray will come back. So we're gonna go into Hayate here. The reason why Hayate is so that we can get a direct attack in, dump a spell, because we are in dire need of spells. And so he chooses, he got the little bonus effect because he has Eldlich. He chose to destroy multi-roll, which is the correct choice, right? If he gets rid of Hayate, I get Ray. If he gets rid of Area 0, I get another Ray from my deck, and that's just the correct choice. And so now what he does is he flips Vanity's Emptiness. And Vanity's Emptiness, what that does is it prevents both players from special summoning. And you can see why he didn't flip Vanity's Emptiness in that previous chain. Because if he did, he wouldn't be able to special summon Conquistador and destroy my multi-roll. Which multi-roll is a good hit, right? He doesn't know what's in my hand. Multi-roll is generally a good hit so that they don't encore, or a Sky Striker player doesn't encore so many spells. And so I'm taking a little bit of time here, I guess. Or maybe he was taking time to react. But now I'm sending Ray to the graveyard with Area 0's effect in order to obtain another spell. I've got Hornet Drones, which isn't very helpful. It special summons a monster, but I can't special summon with that Vanity's Emptiness on the board. And so Vanity's Emptiness is a very strong card, but the way you get rid of it, it's not just by spell and trap removal, obviously, but it is by being able to remove a card from their board. When a card is sent from their field to the graveyard, Vanity's Emptiness will destroy itself. So, I mean, it's still a really strong card, but that's like the only reason why it's quote-unquote fair. And so we dump a spell, right? We dump Eagle Boosters, sorry, not Eagle Cannon. It's Eagle Boosters. And so we have to pass, right? We can't special summon Shizuku. Vanity's Emptiness is on the board. It's looking really bad. We don't have any spells, any usable spells. We have no way to destroy Area 0, even though we don't want to, because they have Vanity's Emptiness, and they have a big 2500 beat stick on the board. Beat stick meaning just something that has a really high attack and can beat you down, right? He's going to beat down my Hayate. My Hayate is going to be able to activate, though, because Hayate's effect activates at the end of the damage step through any battle, right? Through any battle, through any attack, she will be able to use her effect. And so I choose to send multi-roll because why multi-roll is because I don't want to draw multi-roll, because multi-roll is not going to get me out of the situation. This is a lock that I'm under right now. I cannot special summon. So my toolbox for special summoning, my monster toolbox, my extra deck is locked out. I need a spell to pop one of his cards on the board so that I get rid of that Vanity's Emptiness. Turn changes, draw, and I get Widow Anchor. So I'm rewarded for my decision to send multi-roll. Even though multi-roll is a great card, it is a great card by all means, it is not what is going to help me solve the situation. So what I do, I take the Eldlich with Widow Anchor because I have 3 spells in the grave, right? And I attack his Conquistador. And this is going to send Conquistador to the grave. This is then going to have Vanity's Emptiness destroy itself. And now I am able to special summon. I am out of this lock. Red New from the future here. I kind of want to talk about why I didn't normal summon Ray before the battle phase. Because someone might come in here and say, hey, you know you just missed 1500 damage, right? And yes, I did miss 1500 damage, but it was completely intentional. I have PTSD. Not actually, but in my previous experience of playing Yu-Gi-Oh, right? What always would happen is sometimes you would, pop off, you'd summon your boss monster X, Y, and Z and take their monster, whatever, and then you go for the attack. And you know what card comes up when you go all in for the attack? Mirror Force. And while Mirror Force is not meta, you're not going to see a lot of that in Platinum Rank games. There are still cards that can only take you out during or after battle phase, like maybe evenly matched or whatever. So as a very general word of advice, when your opponent has a lot of traps set, only commit things to the battle phase, cards you are willing to lose. Main phase 2 exists so that you can avoid overcommitting things to that battle phase. My Rei and the plays I can make with her they are way more important than 1500 or even 3000 damage. All right, let's continue. With Rei in my hand, I normal summon Rei. And let's see what I do here. I believe I special summon it out, but okay. The normal summon, he activates compulsory evacuation device, and that's exactly like, it's kind of ironic given the name of the card. He's doing it by compulsion, and he shouldn't have, because Rei can just dodge the effect, right? But maybe he was just trying to get a card off the max C. Maybe he knew that and he just wanted a card, and that's fine too. I probably would have compulsed the Eldlich so that he would get it back to his hand, but I don't know. So now I'm thinking, what do I special summon here, right? I'm thinking I go Shizuku. So I'm going to end my turn with Shizuku. I'm going to send his Eldlich to the graveyard with Air Zero's effect. And lucky day, lucky me, I find Engage. And by the way, this is when my plans start to change, because now that I have Engage, I can look for Shark Cannon, and because I have Engage, I have 3 spells in my grave. Now I can go into Kagari. Even though I'm under max C, it's fine, because I'm going to get more cards than him. And so Shark Cannon is going to let us banish the Eldlich from the graveyard, making it so that he cannot revive Eldlich, and so he needs to find another starter card. He needs to find another card to get Eldlich onto the board from his deck. So now we're thinking, okay, what do we want to do? Do we want to Pot of Avarice? Probably not, because we always want to Pot of Avarice Kagari, right? We want to get a use out of Kagari, special summon her out, tag her out with something else, and then Pot of Avarice, put her back in our extra deck so that we can do it again next time. And so I Shark Cannon his Eldlich, and he changed Solemn Judgment. See, that's where the Solemn Judgment was. You see? He did have the Judgment, and he held it. He held on to it for a very good time, too. And he did it for the card that mattered the most, Shark Cannon. And this tells me, this is very telling for me, too, actually. It tells me he has nothing. He has nothing else. And so I need to get this Shark Cannon back, right? But I'm going to get a card with it too, right? I'm not going to get Shark Cannon here. I'm going to get Engage, yeah. I'm going to get another card from it too, because remember, he put me under max C, so I need to get another card from it. I need to get another card. I know there's another Shark Cannon in my grave. Drop the Engage, get the Shark Cannon, and get that Eldlich out. And hopefully that last deck card isn't another Judgment. But you can see how desperate he was to keep it in play. He paid half his life points for that. He didn't negate any of my special summons, nothing like that. He paid half his life points to keep Eldlich in his grave, because that is just how Eldlich is going to win the game, by continually using him, by bringing him back over and over and over again. It's the only way he can continue to play the game, but now it's gone. And now I drew Called by the Grave with that Engage, by the way. And Called by the Grave is another card that banishes monsters from the graveyard, and that is another very, very good tool versus Eldlich. And I'm very happy to see that in my hand. So that's another thing. All these trap monsters, they essentially float. Basically, when they're destroyed, when they're gone, they get to set another Eldlich from the deck to their spell trap, which is stupid because that card that he just set gets to special summon Eldlich from the deck. That's why this deck is so strong, because they have so many cards that float into other cards that special summon Eldlich from the deck. And so he uses Pot of Prosperity. It's kind of like Pot of Extravagance, but instead he gets to choose. And he's going to choose whatever he thinks is the right tool for the job here. I'm thinking Eldlich so that he has 2 ways to special summon. Yeah, he has 2 ways to special summon Eldlich now. The Eldlich, which does it from the deck, and also his Eldlich of Scarlet Sanguine or whatever, the card he set on the right, where he is able to special summon another Eldlich from deck or graveyard, which is silly. I have nothing to stop this, right? So that's his second Eldlich. It's out on the board. It's here. And nothing I can do to stop it. Nope. So now he uses Eldlich's effect from hand. And this is the sending card to graveyard effect. He's going to send our Kagari. And so we are going to call by the grave him. And that's going to not only banish him from the graveyard, which is what we love to do versus Eldlich. We're going to negate his effects. But that flip, the Scarlet Sanguine, it special summons the zombie monster from deck or graveyard. This is the one that special summons from graveyard. So he's actually going to take that Eldlich out that he discarded as cost, put it on the board. And that's going to make my Call by the Grave misfire, not do a damn thing. And he's going to get Eldlich on the board. But since he sent my Kagari to the grave, I do get Ray. And very good play from him. He has Hawkero, and we actually knew that he searched that, if you remember from last time. And so he's going to banish the Ray that special summons itself. We have to choose the Ray first, and he gets to chain and banish the one that we chose to special summon, which is great play by him. Very good. That's how he's supposed to win. And so he's going to hit us. I think he does. One of the cards has like, oh, if you use this card, only deal half damage or something. I think it was Pot of Extravagance. No, Prosperity. Prosperity says if you activate me, you only deal half battle damage for the rest of the turn. So, you know, we didn't take as big of a hit, which is great, right? Buys us a little more time. But even though he has all that, even though he stopped us from getting Ray, we still have Hornet Drones in our hand. And that's going to let us get back into the game. Because all we need is one Sky Striker monster. Hornet Drones gives us that. And by the way, setting that Hornet Drones was a bad move. There's no reason why I should. Because it can be destroyed. And there's like absolutely no reason why I would want to special summon Hornet Drones in response. I top deck the Engage here, which is just stupidly good, right? And I'm just like, oh, what do I want? What do I want? Okay, it's Afterburners, right? And why I consider Ray is because I just want like maybe a guaranteed way to get Ray on the board. Because if I just relied on Hornet Drones, maybe he has a flip, right, that just prevents the special summon. But in the end, I do pick Afterburners, and I remember why. It's because even if I don't destroy his set spell or whatever, his spell, I could destroy my I can destroy my area 0 with Afterburners effect. Afterburners bonus effect, that is. Luckily, I get Harpy's Feather Duster from that Engage. I'm able to destroy his both his traps. Remember, Hawkero is still a trap. Even though he's a monster, like a trap monster, he's still a trap, right? And so we get Afterburners here. We destroy the one Eldlich, and we're going to destroy our Area 0. Area 0 is going to let us special summon the Ray from our deck. The Ray that we kept, the one Ray in there, which was the correct choice of keeping. And so now we have Ray on the board. And guess what? We used Kagari last turn. Let's put her back. And let's get Kagari back in again. Let's get another Engage, right? And at this point, it's a done deal, right? All we need to do is Kagari, the Widow Anchor we have in our grave. I don't know if we have one in our deck. But all we need to do is Kagari the Widow Anchor, and Kagari, because she gets 100 attack for every spell in our grave, she's gonna have a boosted attack. We Widow Anchor, we steal his Eldlich, and that's like at least 5,000 or what, 5,400 damage. We win the game. So while I BM my opponent here a little bit, it's not really intentional. Sometimes I just tunnel vision on getting more cards or whatever, so I think I search Engage for the Widow Anchor here. But the end result's all the same, right? I'll use this bit as an outro, and the first thing I want to say is I am working on a virtual world guide. I've had quite a few people ask me for it, so I decided to learn the deck. I got Platinum 5 with it already on an alternate account, and it's looking pretty good. A few more games, I think I should be able to get Plat 1. I'm not an expert by far, but I will be able to share what I know, and it should be enough to get to that rank. So, thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see more Sky Strikers. Subscribe for more Master Duel content. My name is Rednew, and I'll see you all next time. Peace!